Hello my dear friends, you're in the Military with Summary channel. In this video we're going to discuss the most important events that took place in the world during the previous 12 hours. We have lots of very interesting updates, so let's start. And first we're going to talk about Ukraine. Overnight the Ukrainians attacked the territory of the Russian Federation using hundreds of drones. And this packed picture was published this morning where we can see the approximate routes of Ukraine attack. As you can see, there were at least 4 waves of attack or 4 roads of attacks. 2 of them were heading in the southern direction, in the direction of the Black Sea and in the direction of the southern region of the Russian Federation. Another wave of attack took place in the area of the city of Belgrade. Most likely the Ukrainians were trying to break through the Belgrade air defense forces and to move further deep inside of the territory of the Russian Federation. And the fourth and the largest wave of attack took place in the northern direction between the Chernigov and Sumy regions and the northern parts of the Russian Federation. So we are talking about this one. Pro-Ukrainian sources stated that during this attack, the Ukrainians were using approximately 300 drones. The Minister of Defense of the Russian Federation also provided us some numbers. For example, between 1 p.m. and 6 p.m., the Russians destroyed 97 drones of the armed forces of Ukraine. Later, between 6 p.m. and 8 p.m., the Russians destroyed additional 60 drones. And this morning, the Minister of Defense of the Russian Federation reported that overnight, the Russians destroyed additional 249 drones of the armed forces of Ukraine. And most of them were destroyed over Bryansk region, over Kaluga region, over Smolensk region, over the Novgorod region, and so on. So according to this picture, as you can see, most of the drones of the armed forces of Ukraine were moving in the northern direction, trying to outflank the city of Moscow. And during the night, we received the report that the main target of the armed forces of Ukraine was the St. Petersburg region, so the Leningrad region. So this is almost the most northern parts of the Russian Federation. Also during the night, we received this video where we can see how Ukrainians, before launching this massive attack, discovered and destroyed an air defense unit of the armed forces of the Russian Federation, air defense system Buk M2 or Buk M3. So this system was destroyed in the most western part of the Bryansk region. As for the overnight attack, the most important target and the task of the armed forces of Ukraine was the oil refinery in the area of the city of Primorsk. So this oil refinery was damaged or maybe even destroyed by Ukrainians overnight. As for the morning of the 23rd of March of 2026, we have several pictures where we can see the consequences of attack, and we have this satellite picture where we can see a fire anomaly. As you can see, according to this picture, this object of energy infrastructure and this one were covered with fire, which means that these objects either were destroyed or significantly damaged. So that was the task of the armed forces of Ukraine. Furthermore, during the night, overnight, we received lots of reports about the situation in the city of St. Petersburg. At least 10 passengers planes are currently unable to land at St. Petersburg airport due to a Ukrainian drone strike. Now let's discuss the situation with the Russian attack. Overnight, the Russians also attacked the territory of Ukraine using hundreds of drones, and this morning the Minister of Defense of Ukraine published this picture where we can see that overnight the Russians used 251 drones to attack the territory of Ukraine. Later, several pro-Ukrainian sources published this map where we can see where exactly most of the drones were recorded. As you can see, according to this picture, most of the drones of the armed forces of the Russian Federation were moving through the central part of Ukraine in the direction of the southern regions. And during the night, lots of explosions were recorded exactly in this region. We received lots of pictures and videos from the city of Kryvyi Rog. In this video, for example, we can see how the Russians destroyed a train on the territory of the city of Kryvyi Rog, the train that the Ukrainians used to bring cargoes, arms, weapons in the direction of the city. As a result of attack with the drone of Geraint type, this train was completely destroyed, as you can see. Furthermore, we received several pictures also from the city of Kryvyi Rog. Probably this is the picture of the train that was damaged by Russia. Furthermore, we received the report that the Russians were also attacking the territory of Odessa region. Here we can see the consequences of attack in the area of the settlement by the name of Mykolaiivka. As a result of attack, the Russians destroyed these farms and these barracks, and here we can see pictures of destroyed barracks. Furthermore, the Russians, according to information we have, attacked the city of Chernomorsk itself. Here we can see the moments of attack, explosion, and we can see how a civilian was making a video of this. Furthermore, the Ukrainians during the previous night attacked the railway station and railway service between the cities of Melitopol and Crimea. So here we can see the consequences of attack. A substation was damaged. This substation support and supply with electricity the railways between the city of Melitopol and Crimea, which is a very important part because now both the Russians and the Ukrainians are fighting for the Zaporozhye direction. So that is why the logistics plays significant role in this battle. Now let's discuss the situation on the ground and let's talk about the most important updates that took place overnight, and the most important adjustments of the map are coming from the northern Kupyansk direction. Today we have colored the western Kupyansk direction completely under control of the armored forces of Ukraine. So these are the changes on the ground. This is the end of the 22nd of March and this is the beginning of the 23rd of March. Pro-Ukrainian sources published this video where we can see that the Ukrainians, as a result of clashes during the previous days, managed to establish complete control over the western bank of the river of Oskol, over the western Kupyansk, and here we can see lots of episodes of how Ukrainians were moving between buildings in the central part of the city, somewhere along the river itself, somewhere around this square. So the most of the episodes took place right exactly at this point. Furthermore, I would like to remind you that 2 days ago we received a video from this part of the city of Kupyansk, also on the western bank, and here we can see almost the same story. Ukrainian soldiers were moving between buildings in this part of the settlement. So based on these two videos that were published, have been published in the 21st of March of 2026, we have adjusted completely the most western parts of the city. Furthermore, during the previous days we received lots of updates from very reliable pro-Russian sources that this is approximately the situation, that the Russians lost completely their foothold on the western bank of the river of Oskol, and that the Russians were forced to fall back on the eastern bank of the river Oskol with the purpose to regroup themselves and to continue their pressure on the eastern bank of the river and on the eastern bank of the Kupyansk agglomeration. Now let's move further. Let's discuss the situation in the Slaviansk direction. During the previous nights we haven't received almost anything. Just several pro-Ukrainian sources confirmed that the Russians are keeping advancing in this region, and according to pro-Ukrainian sources we have lots of changes. We have adjustments both of territories under control of the armored forces of the Russian Federation and gray zones. So as of our map we haven't adjusted anything because we received most of these updates during the previous days from different mappers. As for the city of Konstantinovka, no changes during the night. As for the Pokrovsk direction, the same story, no changes during the night. As for the Zaporozhye direction, there are very heavy clashes in this area. The Russians are keeping advancing between the villages of Vostvizhovka and Verkhnya Tersa. Overnight, we received lots of videos of how Russians were bombing and attacking positions of the armored forces of Ukraine in this area, and it seems that in coming days we might receive first updates from pro-Russian sources about additional progress on the ground. And the same time, the Ukrainians are keeping advancing in the northern Zaporozhye direction, trying to cut the main supply line between the cities of Gulyai-Polye, Uspenovka and Velika Novoselovka, but the Ukrainians are still very far from this objective. Now let's discuss the situation in the Middle East. We received lots of important updates, and first let's talk about the United States of America. According to information we have, the conclusion of oil and gas deals in the United States is paralyzed due to strikes on Iran, reports to the Financial Times, citing several bankers and lawyers. The reason is the uncertainty in the market caused by a sharp rise in energy prices. According to the newspaper, all negotiations in this sector have showed slowed down or been put on hold until the markets come down and raw material prices stabilize. But the thing is that nobody knows for sure when exactly the prices will stabilize. As of the morning of the 23rd of March of 2026, the prices for oil went up. We had the following prices: WTI $101, and Brent was on the level of $113. And I would like to remind you that the President of the United States of America issued an ultimatum to Iran, and according to this ultimatum, the Iranians must open the Strait of Hormuz within the next 48 hours. So which means that most likely this ultimatum will end by the end of this day, by the end of the 23rd of March of 2026, and starting on the 24th of March of 2026, the United States of America will begin bombing and attacking the objects of energy infrastructure of Iran significantly. You'll soon find out what will happen with the ultimatum on the power stations. The result will be very good. There will be a total destruction of Iran, and it's going to work out great. NATO countries are doing nothing. It's a great shame. Iran has been very bad for 47 years. Now it is receiving the punishment it deserves. But at the same time, we know that the situation in the Middle East is very difficult, and if the United States of America begins bombing objects of energy infrastructure in Iran, we understand that the prices for oil will rise even more. And we have a list of countries that depend significantly on the oil from the Middle East region. We are talking about Japan, United Kingdom, China, Canada, Belgium, and many other different states. So we are on probably in the middle of or at the beginning probably of the energy crisis, and obviously the situation will only worsen. Now let's talk about the area of the Middle East itself. During the previous days, we received lots of updates, and the most important probably is coming from the city of Bandar Abbas, more precisely from the southern parts of Iran. So in this video, we can see another attack that was carried out by the coalition, but from this video, we don't see big missiles or big explosions or that. So the coalition began using something new. The most important thing is that in this video, we can see that the coalitions, for the first time probably since the beginning of the Epic Fury operation, attacked an object of energy infrastructure. And right after this attack, we can see that power outages occurred in the region. So it seems that the United States of America, despite the fact that they gave the Iranians 48 hours, they began testing the energy infrastructure of Iran. They began bombing these objects of energy infrastructure to understand what exactly is going to happen on the 24th of March. So we can say that the United States of America began bombing objects of energy infrastructure, which means that most likely the Iranians will strike back, and they will attack similar objects through the entire territory of the Middle East. Another important situation is developing in the area of the city of Baghdad in Iraq. According to information we have, the Americans and NATO forces requested a 24-hour truce from the Iraqi resistance factions through the Iraqi government to finalize the withdrawal of their forces from the Victory base in Baghdad to Turkey. Most of the Iraqi resistance factions that received the government's request agreed to the truce on the condition that some bases targets are not going to be targeted. And later we received this video where we can see a convoys of the US and NATO forces leaving the territory of Baghdad and heading in the western direction towards the city of Jordan. As of the morning of the 23rd of March of 2026, it is known that the United States of America is going to save their presence just in the Kurdish Iraq in the northern parts of the state around the city of Erbil. So they're planning to save this base, but the question is, are they going to save this base for a very long period of time or not? Furthermore, we continue receiving different updates about the consequences of attacks that were carried out by the Iranians during the previous days. Today we received fresh satellite pictures from the area of the city by the name of Fujairah. Here we can see the differences between the dates between when the Iranians attacked and when the territory wasn't attacked. As you can see, the Iranians managed to deal significant damage to this facility, the largest oil port, the largest oil infrastructure. Furthermore, we continue receiving updates that the Strait of Hormuz is still blocked. We have additional videos with a significant number of tankers that are not able to cross this area, and the concentration of these tankers and ships continue because most of them are located to the southeast of the Strait of Hormuz. And as we discussed in the previous videos, it seems that sooner or later these ships and vessels would become legitimate targets for the Iranians as well, at least according to their understanding of the situation. Furthermore, we received a report that Tehran is moving to profit from its control over the Strait of Hormuz, deciding who can pass and potentially charging up to 2 million per tanker. So we see that despite the situation, despite the critical situation in Iran, we're talking about bombardments and so on, the Iranians are still controlling the Strait of Hormuz. Furthermore, this morning we received more updates that potentially up to 2 or 1 aircraft of the coalition, probably F-16, was damaged over the sky of Iran or Iraq. Another important video is coming from Israel, this one, and in this video we can see probably how the coalitions used for the first time their most modernized air defense system, Arrow, and here we can see how the Iranian ballistic missile was destroyed with this air defense system, which is a very important test, and we can see that this test was successful. And that's it for today for the short video. The Military Summary channel reminds we condemn any violence in the world. Thank you for watching. Subscribe to my channel, put your likes, join my Patreon, and have a good day. Bye bye.